Biochar Queensland. Okay, here it is. This biochar video is in regards to how to inoculate, how to regenerate soil, how to use biochar, how to make biochar, and how to DIY your properties and your soils. Well, here you are. You've got the plain inner biochar carbon source right here, right now. So we're going to have a look. There's different materials here, and as you can see, with these materials, it is biochar, highly pyrolyzed biochar that's gone through the full pyrolysis by removing the oxygen from the fire, and then what that does is it burns up all the gases within the charcoal. So get this, biochar is not charcoal. Biochar is the next form from charcoal. Charcoal has gases and nutrients still stored in the material. It hasn't gone through the full pyrolysis process, which is extracting the oxygen from the carbon source, and it will split and put the actual materials into, give us 1 second. So now what this does is it creates a home for microscopic bacteria, fungi, moisture, nutrients, and minerals deep within this product. So just 1 gram of this biochar has 836 million square meters of surface area. Get that? It's 836 million square meters of surface area per gram of biochar. This is highly porous material. Now, if you're going to mix this into soil, this soil needs to be highly nutrient dense, because the biochar is like a battery. It's going to absorb the nutrients from the soil. Or the next step would be, in this instance, we would do a compost tea of worm castings. We would do compost teas of finished compost. We would do also other processes like seaweed and increasing the soil pH level as well, because biochar by itself is pH 11. So if you want to drop it back down to, say, a pH 6 for soil, or for ginger 5.5, or any situation that you're trying to grow plants from, plain biochar is going to increase the pH in the soil, so you need to decrease by adding acidity. If your soils are acidic, then biochar is going to remove that acidity and bring the soils back to a more balanced state. So, DIY biochar. Go to your fire pit, have a look, crack open the biochar. Is it, see, this is a perfect example. This would be more along the lines of charcoal, not completely biochar. Now, why has this not completely turned into biochar? It hasn't gone through the full pyrolysis. Now, inert products such as these products here is for this video to teach you how to keep an eye out if it is biochar or if it isn't. You'll know instantly, because in this piece, for instance, when you go to break it, it breaks. There's a lot of surface area in that material right there. So it's very easy to break up. So charcoal itself is very hard to break. biochar is very easy. Now, you can use high nitrogen contents like urine from cows or horses, and add that into the biochar. Is a very good for nitrogen source for the biochar. And you could use worm castings. I would use 20 litres of worm castings to say 10 litres of biochar. So you can see that the significant amount it's going to take to charge the biochar with the worm castings. So if you've got a 1 tonne bag of biochar, you're going to need double or triple in worm castings to activate that. You would put that into a pile for 2 weeks, turn it into a compost, and in return, it's going to self-activate. And then you can utilize that into your landscape. Now, we recommend on average 20% of biochar to go into any soil type. If you're in arid locations, I would increase it to 40%. But remember, biochar is pH 11. You want to reduce it back down to a 5 or a 6 pH for soil, for grasslands, places like that. If you want more information on biochar, or if you want Biochar Queensland products or Biochar Queensland services, then Earth Love Global are here to help guide you into the proper methods and the easiest ways to getting your land thriving once again. So let's have another look. A lot of this material here is very, very crushed up to a fine amount, which is perfect for soil. You want the bigger pieces and the smaller pieces for the simple fact that the bigger pieces, they're going to do a lot for you in the soil profile. They're going to house a lot more microbial activity, and it's good to have a good consistency of larger pieces and smaller pieces within soil. Now, if you were to spread 1 tonne out over 1 acre, this would be 2.5% biochar being added to that 1 acre at a 10 mil depth. So if you were to just sprinkle it on top of the ground, you have just added 2.5% to that surface. Now you can increase that to 20% by increasing the quantities of biochar. What this is going to do is it's going to open up the surface area by increasing the microbial activity. So you need to increase your fertility of your soils before you go planting out. Then once you've done this, then you can incorporate this into clay. You could blend this into a clay surface at 20% and blend it into the first 100 mil. You would be using maybe 20 or 40 cubic meters into this 1 acre, but what you're going to produce out of that 1 acre in pasture will be, in an arid location, will be anywhere from 330% increase in yield to 880% increase in yield. And this is being done in trials in deserts, so in arid locations. So if you're only waiting on moisture from rain and you get very minimal, well, guess what? Biochar is very similar to humus. Now, please understand, biochar is an inert material. Soil humus is a finished, decomposed organic material. The difference is biochar is raw, it has no nutrients, but it stores 75% in moisture, nutrients, and minerals if you were to add them to the biochar. When you go to, say, soil humus, it already has unlocked nutrients, moisture, and minerals, and it holds from 75% moisture capacity to 90% moisture capacity. Why is the biochar so good? It doesn't take you 30 years to create that soil humus. In nature, it takes nature 500 years to create 1 inch of soil humus. In this instance, if we were to put 1 inch of biochar over the surface of the ground, you have just saved yourself 500 years. Now, this is not saying that you can't create 1, 2, 3 inches in a couple of years of soil humus through intensive grazing practices, increasing organic matter, and so on and so forth. But what this will do is it will rapidly transform any ecosystem. So, if you want to increase your yields, if you want to increase your productivity in your land, then isn't it smarter to get 5 or 10 or 100 acres done with biochar and don't worry about your other 1,000 and then grow enormous amounts of yields off of those couple of acres than it would by struggling trying to grow off the same 1,000 acres? And then once you get those yields, aren't they profits? Why can't you invest those profits back into increasing the next section of your property? Now, we recommend buying on large scale properties, purchasing your own pyrolysis machine. Now, these retorts are very, very good. You can purchase them through Earth Love Global. Anywhere from 3 to 6 cubic meter would be in the vicinity of 25 to 30K. If you want a 17 cubic meter biochar retort, 17 cubic meter biochar retort, it's in the vicinity of about 450K. So it's big investments, but those investments pay off. And not only that, the returns are significant. If you want to guide or help to get yourself up to a standard of being able to grow abundantly and naturally, then contact the Earth Love Global team today. We're here to provide you with guidance in step-by-step methods in growing your soil's potential by increasing the soil humus content or increasing the biochar content, which acts very similar to soil humus. Now, Earth Love Global loves biochar to the point that we have found out in the Amazons over 2,000 to 4,000 years ago, the Amazonian people that lived there lived on terra preta islands. Now, you can have a look at these videos. We'll drop down into the comments section below and we'll leave details to these videos where you can check out the terra preta videos. Now, these videos will show you how fertile soils are with terra preta. Terra preta is Amazonian word for black earth, and black earth over there is clay, organic material, and significant amounts of biochar. You can find this video on El Dorado Terra Preta Soils Amazon in YouTube. Thank you for your time today. We welcome you to drop past on our website on www.earthloveglobal.com.au to check out our products and services. We're here to offer you significant information in increasing your soil's fertility. We'll be back next week with another soil humus video and how to increase your soil's potential naturally. Thank you from the Earth Love Global team.